Children of Heaven begins by showing a boy named Ollie, who goes to the market to repair his sister's shoes. But that's not the only reason he came to the market. He is used to helping his parents shop for their daily needs at the market. Today, after picking up his sister's repaired shoes, he stopped by the grocery store to shop. And to make it easier for him to get what he needs, he puts his belongings in front of the shop, including his sister's shoes. But unfortunately, while Ollie was choosing what to buy, a scavenger picked up plastics and trash in front of the shop. And among the things he picked up, he accidentally took Ollie's sister's shoes. Of course, he didn't know he was taking someone else's shoes. They were in plastic, so the scavengers thought they were just another piece of trash. Obviously, Ollie got confused when he couldn't find his sister's shoes where he had put them. Thinking the shoes had fallen between the wooden boxes, he dug through the gaps to look for them. But how unlucky he was today. He accidentally hit the wooden boxes, causing the fruits and vegetables to fall. Inevitably, the shop owner was angry to see his fruit and vegetables become dirty. Without hearing Ollie's explanation, the man kicked him out of his shop. Ollie's parents were actually very poor, so poor that they could not afford new shoes for their daughter. Therefore, they kept repairing her shoes, even though they were no longer fit to wear. But now, Ollie had lost the pair of shoes. As if it couldn't get any worse, as Ollie walked into his house and thought about what excuse he should give his parents, he heard the landlord arguing with his mother because she had been late in rent arrears for the past 5 months. This situation made him even more afraid to tell his mother about the misfortune he had just experienced. And so, when his sister, Zahra, asked Ollie about her shoes, he confessed that her shoes were missing. Although out of fear, he begged her not to tell their mother, arguing that it would only add to the burden on their parents, who had financial problems. Zahra immediately burst into tears when she heard Ollie's confession. She was frantic because, without those shoes, she wouldn't be able to go to school tomorrow. There was no way she would go barefoot. Seeing his sister crying made Ollie feel guilty. He tried to calm her down, saying he would look for the shoes until they were found. With that, he returned to the shop to look for the shoes again. But he went home empty-handed because he still couldn't find them. Later that night, when Ollie's father came home, he was furious because of the various things that had happened that day. First, he was angry because his wife had to deal with the landlord, whereas he was the one who had to do it as the head of the household. Second, he was angry at Ollie for not helping his sick mother, and Ollie could only cry in response to his father's anger. He couldn't say he had been out all day looking for Zahra's shoes. Since Ollie still hadn't told their parents about the shoes, Zahra wrote a note while they were doing their homework, asking him about searching for her shoes. Using a note too, he replied that he still hadn't found her shoes, and so he suggested that they take turns wearing his shoes. Yes, luckily, they have different school schedules. So, Zahra would wear Ollie's shoes when she went to school in the morning. Then when she came home from school, she would return the shoes to Ollie so he could wear them for the afternoon classes. Having no other choice, Zahra couldn't help but agree with Ollie's idea. The following day, she went to school wearing Ollie's dirty shoes that were too big for her feet. Then, when school ended, she immediately ran outside to meet Ollie, who was waiting for her at a meeting point. In haste, they swapped footwear. Now Ollie is wearing his shoes, while Zahra is wearing the sandals her brother brought from home. Their plan didn't quite go as expected. Because of having to wait for her, he is late for school no matter how fast he runs. After Ollie returned from school, a worried Zahra asked if he was not late for class. He answered honestly that he was late. That's why he asked her to come early tomorrow so he could come to school on time. In response, she said she would try it, even though today she had run as fast as she could to the meeting point. So, the next day, Zahra tried to finish the exam faster so she could arrive at the meeting point as soon as possible. But because the shoes she was wearing were too big, one of them slipped off as she jumped over the flowing drainage, forcing her to chase after it. But there was nothing she could do but cry as the shoe caught under a small stone bridge. Fortunately, a man passed by not long after, and he helped her take the shoe. With one shoe soaking wet, Zahra met Ollie at the meeting point. She told him what had happened to the shoes and said that she no longer wanted to wear shoes that were too big. If he kept forcing her to wear those shoes, she would tell their parents that he had lost them. But again, Ollie assured her that there was no way they could tell them about the missing shoes. Their father wouldn't be able to buy her new shoes because he owed a lot of people. Like it or not, Zahra has to wear his shoes. Zahra finally agreed to keep silent. Then, after changing footwear, Ollie left for school and was again late. But this time, the principal didn't let it go. He scolds Ollie, saying he will not allow Ollie to come to class if he is late again. Even so, today, Ollie got a bit of joy when his teacher announced the results of the students' test scores. He was included in the top 3 students with the best grades, and because of that, he was entitled to a prize in the form of a gold pen. After school, Ollie gave the pen to Zahra, partly to atone for his mistake of having lost her shoes, partly to cheer her up because of what happened this afternoon. Fortunately, Zahra accepted the gift happily. Then one day, when the students were lining up before class, Zahra accidentally saw a student wearing her missing pink shoes. And so, after school, she secretly followed the girl, Roya, to her house. But as a consequence, she arrived late at the meeting point, causing Ollie to be late for school again. This time the principal's patience had run out. He scolded Ollie and told him to leave. He was only allowed to return to school if he brought his father because the principal wanted to know why he was always late lately. Fortunately, Ollie's teacher witnessed all of that. He then tried to persuade the principal to give Ollie one more chance since he was a diligent and smart boy. The principal agreed to give him a chance, allowing him to come to class. In the afternoon, Zahra took Ollie to Roya's house to get her pink shoes back. But then, they gave up their intention after seeing the condition of her family. Not only poor, but her father was also blind. This fact makes Ollie and Zahra feel sorry for Roya. And so, they decided to let her have the pink shoes and go home empty-handed. A few days later, Ollie's father, desperate for more money to improve his family's condition, decided to borrow gardening tools from a friend. Hoping with these tools, he could offer services as a gardener to rich people. And so, during the school holidays, Ollie and his father went far from home to look for potential customers. Riding on old bicycles, they traveled to affluent residential areas north of Tehran, offering door-to-door services. However, only after they knocked on who knows how many doors did they get their first customer, who then took them to his mansion where he lives with his grandson, a 6-year-old boy named Alireza. So while Ollie's father tended the trees and plants in the mansion's courtyard, Ollie played with him, who quickly became his friend. Alireza and his grandfather also turned out to be very kind and generous. Evidently, when Ollie's father finished work, the grandfather paid him a lot, surprising him and overjoyed. It was only natural for him to be like that because it was the highest amount of money he had ever held in his life. And his joy grew even more after the grandfather decided to employ Ollie's father as a permanent gardener at his house. With big smiles on their faces, Ollie and his father then cycled back home. So happy his father, he immediately agreed when Ollie asked him to use some money to buy Zahra's new shoes. But the joy didn't last long because as they descended the downhill road, the bicycle brakes suddenly failed, causing them to crash into a tree to stop the bike. In the end, the father gets injured, their bike breaks down, and they have to hitch a ride home. When the school had resumed after the holidays, the sports teacher announced that a provincial-level running competition would soon be held. But Ollie was not interested in participating in the competition, considering that his worn shoes did not allow him to run long distances. But his mind immediately changed when he saw the prizes that the winners of the race would win a few days later. It turned out that the third winner was entitled to receive a prize in the form of a pair of sports shoes. So, even though the students who passed the competition selection had been announced, Ollie went to the sports teacher and asked to be included in the competition. But of course, the teacher could not fulfill his request, because after all the candidates had already been chosen. Desperate to get his sister new shoes, Ollie wept in front of the teacher while begging him to consider his request. He promised to run fast and win the competition. Seeing Ollie cry, the teacher's heart immediately melted. He was willing to give Ollie a chance by testing his running speed. And apparently, Ollie didn't just talk. His running ability is very good, to impress the teacher. He didn't know Ollie's running ability was caused by how often he ran to school so he wouldn't be late. Even today, he still runs to his school after swapping footwear with Zahra. With that, Ollie passed the selection and was able to represent his school in a running competition. Of course, he immediately informed Zahra of the good news, determined to come in third so he could get her new shoes. The day of the race finally arrived, and Ollie came in wearing his ugly shoes. The competition was very difficult because he had to compete with dozens of other participants. Moreover, his unfit shoes made it very difficult for him to cover long distances. But right now, there was only one thing on his mind: how he could get Zahra new shoes. In fact, he couldn't stand the sight of his sister having to run after school to swap shoes with him, and he couldn't imagine how embarrassed Zahra had been for wearing his shabby shoes at school. So, Ollie had to be the third winner in this running race, no matter what. Ollie deliberately slowed down his run despite being ahead of the other participants and then let the other two competitors pass him. He immediately got back up even though another participant accidentally bumped into him and made him fall, all for the sake for a new pair of shoes for Zahra. But unfortunately, fate said otherwise. Towards the finish line, only 5 competitors were competing to be the champion, but they ran almost side by side, making it difficult for Ollie to position himself in third place. In the end, he accidentally came first. The school principal and sports teacher are proud of Ollie's achievements. They held him high and cheered for his victory, unaware he didn't want any of that. He only wanted shoes, sports shoes that he could now only look at sadly. As a first-place winner, Ollie was instead awarded a 2-week vacation at the athletes' camp and a set of sportswear. When he returned home, Zahra greeted him with a smile, thinking maybe his brother had won the pair of shoes he promised. But Ollie returned her smile with a blank look, without a single word coming from his mouth. And just by looking at his expression, she knew he had failed to come in third. She wanted to ask him directly, but their mother called her before she could say anything. Now alone, Ollie sits on the edge of a small pond in his yard. He took off his shoes, showing how badly blistered his feet were after the competition and how the only pair of shoes he owned had been damaged. But luckily, this film doesn't have a sad ending, because on the same day as the race, Ollie and Zahra's father bought each of them new shoes. The film ends. The moral we can take from this movie is that no matter how strong the storm, it will pass one day. No matter how bad we suffer, we will get happiness one day.